Hello, everyone, and welcome to our episode on this Friday, the 10th of April, 2026. It's CPI day, and we have James Garis of Macro Markets Group. James, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a busy week. I'm delighted to be back on, and we've got CPI data coming out in just over a minute or so as well to end the week before we kind of head into the weekend, which could be kind of busy with headlines, obviously, as we have more geopolitical talks as the US and Iran try to come to a kind of ceasefire deal.
Vice President Vance is preparing to depart for Pakistan to lead his country's delegation for talks with an Iranian delegation.
There we go. Right on time. Yeah, I hear you just fine. That's good.
Perfect. But for CPI,
Vance says
quickly,
Trump gave us
as
some
we've got
pretty
less
clear
than a
guidelines on
minute
negotiations.
before I'll turn the
1 minute
speaker
remaining.
up,
I'll be leading with US
obviously,
CPI
we
year-on-year.
are expecting a acceleration in energy prices, or we've had an acceleration in energy prices, which obviously is going to reflect in this inflation data. Obviously, it's April, so we're getting March's inflation data, which the war started around the 1st of March.
Vance says
So
he
it's
believes
going to
negotiations
include
with
all of
Iran
these
will be positive.
hikes in energy prices. The range of forecasts I thought was really interesting. We have massive ranges across the main headline data, with some of the second majority skewed to the downside, which maybe could state that everyone's expecting to be inflation a little bit higher than probably what it is yet. But on the core CPI year-on-year and core CPI month-on-month, which excludes food and energy, the ranges aren't as big. It's a little bit mixed, but the data is coming out very soon. The analyst stream is on full volume, and we should be getting the news.
Free spot 3%, free spot 3%, lower than forecast of free spot 4%. Canadian employment change 14 spot 1k, 14 spot 1k, lower than forecast of 14 spot 95k. US CPI month on month 0.9%, 0.9% as expected. US core CPI year-on-year 2.6%, 2.6%, lower than the forecast of 2.7%. US core CPI month on month 0.2%, 0.2%, lower than the forecast of 0.3%. Canadian unemployment rate 6.7%, 6.7% as expected. Canadian participation rate 64.9%, 64.9%, lower than forecast of 65%.
So the CPI data is coming lower than what was expected, kind of just as what I hinted at seconds before, that everyone might have expected it to be a little too high, a little too quickly, and the data's coming below across the board. The year-on-year data on the headline figure is 3.3 versus the 3.4 that was expected. The actual data 2.6 for the core year-on-year versus the 2.7% that was expected. CPI month-on-month 0.9 in line with the 0.9 forecast, and core CPI was 0.2 below the 0.3 forecast. So we've still had a massive jump in the inflation data year-on-year. When the headline figure, obviously, you look and go 3.3% versus the 2.4% that it was last year, but it's not as high as what the expectations were, and that's the important thing. Obviously, for the markets, there'll still be concerns that inflation has gone up, but it's below what they're expecting. And obviously, off the back of that, you'll see a little bit of weakness in the dollar. As we've seen, obviously that sends pound dollar up a little bit, euro dollar up a little bit, gold up a little bit as well, and the stock market up a little bit. So maybe that provides a little bit of a better sentiment into the afternoon. Obviously it's mixed though. Inflation is still increasing, but it is increasing less than what they expected. And currently there's only 7 basis points worth of rate cuts priced in by year end. So that means the Fed won't be doing a rate cut by the end of this year at the moment as it's expected. And that data will kind of help or won't help really that scenario, because the reason the interest rate expectations changed is they thought the surge in energy prices will obviously make inflation go up a lot, and therefore they'll have to hold interest rates a little bit higher for a little bit longer. If, like what we've seen today, happens again over the coming months, where we get data that's actually below what's expected, it will be a little bit confusing for the Fed, obviously, as we come to the end of Powell's term, because yes, inflation is going up, but not as much as what they expected. And obviously the Fed will have to try and work out how they navigate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the summary has been on point, James. We did talk about this being the very, very, very first sort of inflation print post the starting of the war. I think we're about to hit 6 weeks of the war. And it's nice to kind of see some good news here. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, like you said, where markets were expecting maybe a little hotter inflation. But cooled is good in this instance, I think.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. It was only obviously a month ago we done the previous CPI webinar, and it was all bang in line. But that was March, obviously, release for February before the war started. And I'd said at the time that it won't be this data that's important, but it'll be the upcoming months of data that will obviously start to reflect the surge in energy prices. And, you can see that all of the inflation data has gone up, so it's still going to be a big concern, but it's gone up less than what they expected it to. So obviously that's what the market will really be focusing on.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so just wanted to take care of a few things. We do have about 82 views at the moment, which is fantastic. So welcome to each and every one of you who have decided to join James and I today. We do have a prize giveaway, and that is for a $5,000 account, courtesy of our sponsors, City Traders Imperium, sponsoring and funding traders since 2018. So if you want to get this prize giveaway, have a look in the live chat or the top left corner, scan the QR code. You'll be entered to win at the end of the show today. Also, please just be aware that you will be also receiving a 1 month complimentary access to the terminal. And James can give us a little bit of a rundown on that in a minute. And also 1 month free access to the WAP, our private WAP. So James, do you want to share a little bit about the terminal if you want to give people a little insights on it?
Yeah, the terminal is what you would have just seen on the screen. I'm not sure if you'll be able to pop it back up just like that. Happens magically. But this is the macro markets terminal, and it's like your one-stop shop for everything that you need. And if there is other things that you need that you think should be on there, we can potentially get it on there. There's loads of trading tools and resources, and I won't go through all of them because I'd probably be speaking about it for an hour. But obviously you've got your daily macro briefing with your Asian, European and US session summaries, as well as your events for the day ahead, and your EU open prep, your US open prep. Obviously we can go on and we can look at everything that's happening for the day and all of the session summaries like we've just had obviously during the EU. You've also got your weekly outlooks with your weekly market recap and your kind of outlook for the week ahead. You've got your economic calendar, your earnings calendar, which will be important as we start to come back round to earnings season soon. You've got the news feed, which I was just on a second ago. And as you can see, there's over 1,000 articles this month. Every day automatically updates, taking articles and news from all different financial news providers, giving you kind of up to the minute information about all the different markets, whether that's equities, commodities. There was an interesting piece yesterday about US equity positioning that's fallen to historical lows. So there's loads of information on there to help you kind of navigate the markets, as well as getting all of your live news headlines like we just had for CPI with the audio squawk as well. So when that CPI data come out, you would have all been able to hear the audio going, US CPI 3.3%, core month on month 0.2. This is from the audio squawk that you obviously click to turn on and off. But there's loads more tools down the side. You've got Macro GPT, which takes all of the data from this platform and answers all of your questions. You've got institutional reports, whether that's investment bank reports or World Gold Council reports. There's your trading view charts, currency strength. You've got all of the cross rates, your market heat maps, obviously, as we head into the market open in a little less than an hour. You've got your daily risk sentiment tool that takes all of the information on the platform and gives you a bit of a idea on what the sentiment is in the market. There's interest rate expectations, like I just mentioned before the CPI data. We're expecting a 7 basis points, so 0.7% rate cut from the Fed. And obviously they're the only people that would potentially be looking to cut rates this year, but 0.7 isn't going to be a cut that they're going to be doing. So it gives you all the analysis on that every week. There's order flow, event scenarios, currency converters, loads more things, as well as all of the community resources. You've got a full database of webinars, obviously episode 100 from Mandela and Andrew yesterday, and we're on 101 today. So you've got all of the webinars that we do and many more tools down the side, whether that's educational courses. There's information about the trading event that we're doing on Saturday the 2nd of May. There's a prop firm discount with our partner City Traders Imperium, obviously the best prop firm in town. So there's loads on there. It's the one-stop shop for all of your kind of trading information and news, and obviously macro insights. And yeah, the winner of the prize giveaway today is obviously going to get a CTI account, a gift from Mandela on his community, and they're going to get 1 month's access to this terminal. So whoever wins at the end, we'll obviously see your email, but make sure you send over an email to Mandela and reach out to me, and we'll get you access. But thank you, Mandela, for letting me explain that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, James. Absolutely. And I found it very useful. I started using the Squawk, and it's amazing how, like, even if it's down low, they'll start to mention things like, I don't know, there was a meeting that had to do with the Strait of Hormuz from a council, Middle East council. So it's these little things that you're probably not going to catch if you're just using the old fashioned, you know, BBC, CNBC, Bloomberg all the time. And I think now more than ever, having accurate and reliable data, timely, in real time, I think that makes the difference between, you know, being able to be an active trader and being a little bit behind the 8 ball. So I think it's phenomenal.
Definitely. I mean, we always get questions, you know, in the community, or people will message you, oh, what just happened in the markets? What news just come out? Because they've seen a massive, you know, spike in the market one way or another, especially around geopolitical times. You know, it only takes one tweet from Trump or one comment from, you know, an Iranian senior minister about the Strait of Hormuz, or, you know, if missiles start landing and flying, this is where you're going to be able to find out about it as soon as possible, before it's on the Bloomberg TV, before the BBC have written an article about it.
Yeah, that's too late. It's too late. Yeah, you want to be first. So also, as part of the prize giveaway today, you're going to get, like we said, access to the terminal, and then we're also giving away an access for 1 month to our Investing Galaxy, which is basically our hub for providing our insights and basically what we're looking at each and every trading day. So one lucky winner will get access to that, as well as we're also doing a live trading session later on. So at the open in about 45 minutes or so, if you want to join us, we're doing a special live streaming today off the back of that cooler CPI print. So check us out in about 45 minutes for our live trading as well. We got somebody in the live chat. Do you know this person? Joe Mosley MMG. It's a very nice picture of him.
I've never heard of him. Who's that guy?
He looks like a great guy. So Joe, thank you very much for kicking it with us on this Friday, TGIF. It's nice to have you in the live chat, Joe. Let us know what you're looking at today, because I know you used to do a lot of gold trading back in the day. Let us know if there's anything on your radar that we can.
I have to speak to the lawyers, because I don't remember approving being in the YouTube profile picture.
I was going to say, who's that strapping guy on the left-hand side? We also have a few other comments here. TGIF coming from Asha Ludwig. So TGIF going out to everybody. And looks like Joe is enjoying the comments. Love you too, man. Looking forward to that event. We can cover the event. Before we finish up, James, let's give a little bit of a shameless update for the May event. So let's keep it moving and grooving. So I think this weekend, my understanding is there's supposed to be some sort of peace talks. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown, and let us know what are we supposed to be preparing for over this trading session and maybe this weekend?
Yeah, well, initially, it said that the talks were going to be today. They were the first kind of like comments that came through the wires on the news feed and stuff, that there was going to be talks today. But I think maybe they do start today, but I think they're obviously going to run over the weekend. So the first thing I would say on that is don't be holding any positions over the weekend. Just makes sense. We have no idea, obviously, what could happen, and it's not worth thinking, oh, well, I might get that one big win for the potential downside of being wiped out if there is bad news. So yeah, we obviously, that was the first kind of like thing that we was potentially getting talks start today. I think some people thought, oh, it's just going to be today at like a certain time, but I think they're going to go on over the weekend. And it's been a tricky one because obviously they announced on Tuesday evening, Trump obviously announced that they was going to agree to a ceasefire deal, and Iran had a kind of 10-point plan on what they wanted the US to agree to and Israel to agree to. But I think within about 24 hours, 3 of them 10 points had already been broken. One of the big things within that was Israel attacking Lebanon, and Iran had tried to include Lebanon in this deal. So obviously confusing because, you know, you come to a ceasefire and within 24 hours, you know, 30% of the points in the ceasefire has been broken. But I think after the ceasefire, nothing has really changed too much. Iran has already made clear that the truce has been violated, and with the shipping data that we can see, there's no real movement on the Strait of Hormuz still. It's still closed, and anything that is going through, obviously a big part of the ceasefire deal is that Iran wanted a, I believe it was $1 for every barrel of oil that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. And on a normal day, you get 20 million barrels that go through the Strait of Hormuz. So Iran have essentially just created a 20 million a day revenue stream, where obviously 20% of the global oil supply goes through that Strait of Hormuz. And yeah, they've just created a kind of revenue stream out of nowhere where they've said, well, if you want your oil to come through, we're going to charge you a dollar per barrel. And obviously we'll be making 20 million per day. But we obviously have the talks taking place this weekend. Iran continues to want to hold some leverage over Trump and the US control of the Strait of Hormuz. And that will obviously kind of hang over Trump. So they're going to be negotiating. I would say definitely don't have any positions over the weekend. And until then, it's kind of just ears to the wires on the news feed to see what comes out of it, because you go, okay, well, they'll come to a deal and you know, they'll agree on the 10 points. But if Israel break one of them 10 points within a day, it kind of, where does that then leave you? You know, I think 10 points is probably a lot to agree on, a necessary amount, but a lot to agree on as part of a ceasefire. So it's looking a little bit tricky out there still, I'd say. I'd say that CPI data will help the sentiment a little bit this afternoon. Obviously with the inflation data being lower than what's expected, but I think there will still be a little bit of a cautious tone going into the weekend, obviously with the negotiations taking place. So there's not really like too much to report on. There's not really too much to say about it, because there's not really too much to know at the moment. But I definitely wouldn't be having any positions over the weekend, because you have no idea what kind of headlines could come out or what kind of action could take place. That would be my kind of 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about the last time you were on the show, James, which was when we are in this sort of war environment, I think one of the most important things is to make sure that you survive. And the two things that you highlighted and I highlighted, and we've been basically banging the drum since day one of this 6-week war, is reduce your lot size and also reduce the amount of trades that you're doing. I think that will keep you in the game, because remember what happened on Taco Tuesday, where we got Trump waiting to the last minute to basically come out and say that they've come to some sort of agreement. And so unless you're on the right side of that trade, that could be a blown account, or you know, that basically could wipe you out for forever. So I think being sensible here and being able to be okay to be in cash This is definitely a long game that we're playing here, James. And like you said, all it takes is another Truth Social post to say the ceasefire's over, or what, however you want to word it. Bombs again over Tehran, and we're back to where we started, sort of Monday or last week.
Definitely, but I think since the start of the month, so what we now 10 days into April, obviously, I guess with the turnaround of probably coming to the worst like part of the war in terms of like bombs dropping and the worst bits of news, I think the turnaround in the stock market has been incredible. I think the S&P now is about 2.5%, 3% off all-time highs, and that was something I had kind of questioned. I think last time I was on with you is that even if we do get a ceasefire kind of peace deal, how would the market react to that? Because I remember last year around the middle of June, we got a kind of peace deal, obviously, with Israel and Iran last June, and the stock market done very well off the back of it. I think it was the 23rd of June, if my dates are correct in my head. But we had a great rally off the back of that in obviously the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones especially. And that rally kind of, continued then for quite a while. But we've had an incredible recovery like already in the stock market. And obviously all of the futures are up today, like pre-market, only slightly. But if you remember a little while back, we were speaking and I was saying that I wasn't sure how much this kind of ceasefire and peace deal would push the market back up, because before the war, there was already a pretty stagnant stock market. We spoke about the Mag 7 stocks not really doing well. It was mainly Nvidia, and that kind of concerned me a little bit. But all of that kind of fear seems to have been brushed to the side now. Maybe it will return like post-war. But the fact that S&P's at, was at 6,300, is now at 6,850, and the all-time high 7,000. It could be this time next week we hear good news over the weekend and we could be at all-time highs again, and it'd be like, it's almost crazy, you know.
I think we're basically where we were before the war started, but like you said, James, we're exactly right where we started the year, and right where the first attacks between Israel and US on Iran happened. So it's almost like the war never happened in terms of the S&P 500 and the Dow and the NASDAQ. So I just think that's fascinating. We're only down 0.78% on the year.
It's crazy.
After all that. I
know. I saw something about that yesterday, and it kind of made you think that although the markets did like sell off, there was never really them kind of doom and gloom days like you've seen in previous kind of like crashes. Where the markets drop like 3 or 4 big red days in a row, and you think like, shit, this is really bad, and the recovery over the last 10 days has been incredible. And that's what sounds crazy, saying that, this time next Friday, the S&P could be at all-time highs again if the news over the weekend is good. But then it's just going forward after that. It's like, okay, what's then the sentiment? What's happening with inflation? What's happening with interest rates? I think that will be kind of obviously what the narrative will turn back to. How's the top, 7 Mag 7 companies performing? And I saw something earlier as well that kind of come through the wires about the new Fed chair nominee, Kevin Warsh. Apparently his leadership role is going to be delayed potentially. There's a bit of trouble with like the banking committee and missing paperwork apparently and stuff like that. Not really anything too kind of like interesting in terms of the actual summary, but it could mean he comes in later than what's expected, and Powell would have to stay in charge. And obviously that just kind of leaves you thinking, what does happen with interest rates later on down the line this year?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are basically calling Powell a lame duck Fed chair, and they want to get Kevin Warsh in there. Especially with everything that is going on geopolitically. So I think it's going to be interesting. I know it's not a done deal. He still needs to be confirmed officially. And if that timeline changes, I'm very interested to see how does that change the Fed policy, especially in the next few meetings. So yeah, it's a wild time. It's a wild time. I just pulled up the S&P. So the red dot is where the war started. That first day of attacks was on a Friday night, morning. And we did go down. But like you were saying, James, very orderly. Very sort of orderly, 2 steps down, 1 step up, 2 steps down, 1 step up, 2 steps down. It was like you said, there was not really any panic crashes, no big, down 3% days, 4% days, really. So I don't know. Maybe the market knew that this was going to be resolved sooner than everybody thought. I also think it's interesting that last year we had the bounce on April 7th. I think it was. We had the loser on April 7th, and that's kind of where we are now. This week.
That's true.
It's kind of crazy.
Of Liberation Day. Obviously, the lows were April the 7th, and then April the 9th is when we got the comments from Trump that obviously he was delaying tariffs, and I think the S&P went up about 10% that day. Which is crazy.
that was this one. This was this one right here, I think.
Yeah.
One of these. Yeah, this one. So yeah, we bottomed right there on the 7th. Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It's interesting timing, and that leads to something that I'll show in a second. But them kind of 3 or 4 days there on the left with Liberation Day, they were the kind of days that I was speaking about. We didn't really have that sell-off where you think, wow, this is really, really bad, that kind of 3 or 4 day period. It was a lot more staggered. And on the right side of your screen, that kind of them last 7 or 8 green bull candles, I think that bottom one should be the 23rd of June, maybe.
Yes, it is. This one right here.
That was the day when we got the ceasefire last year between Israel and Iran. And obviously you can see the market reaction and then how it kind of continued to grind up for months, really.
I see it. I see it right there.
Yeah, we're potentially kind of at that point again now. And it leads me into something when you've just said about the April the 7th or around this kind of time, like last year being the lows. It made me just think of something that I've just got on my screen now that was on the terminal posted. I don't know if you want to kind of share it quickly, but it's about April is historically one of the best months of the year for stocks, and has a positive occurrence 75% of the time. So over the last 25 years, the MSCI World Index has posted positive returns 75% of the time in April. And over this period, the average monthly return has been plus 2%, the strongest of any other month. This has been particularly driven by US stocks, which have a 70% weight in the index. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 has gained 1.3% on average in April since 1928, and the second best month of the year after July. And it also doubles the overall monthly average return of 0.7%. So you kind of get that seasonality play back in with the stock market as well. And when you just mentioned, last April around this time was kind of the lows of the year, actually, after obviously a bit of a period of bad news, maybe we're kind of coming towards that again as well. It's kind of interesting, like correlation you just made. It's, pretty much within a week of each other, like a year later, that we're seeing what could be the lows in the stock market. And obviously a seasonal good April definitely supports that.
I always like looking at those. I'm glad that you brought that up, because the seasonality thing, they have, sell in May and go away. That's the next one. But yeah, knowing when to buy. And I think last year was just the rip roaring rally of April. And that's when a lot of brave buyers came in. And it played out to perfection last year. So we're only 10 days in to April 2026. And let's see if the seasonality can kick in again. I think it's a great thing to monitor, and thank you for mentioning that. We do have Andrew in the office. He's a little bit late, so we're gonna have to deduct him for the time that he wasn't in the office. But welcome to the office, everybody, and thank you to everybody who's watching. Also have a comment here: when those last oil ships are delivered and no more ships are coming, the market will experience a shock. It's coming from Youth Education and Safety. We have April Cools for truly best live trading. Okay, looks like some spam coming through. So thank you everybody for watching, and we do have the prize giveaway that we got to do, James. So let's do the prize giveaway, and then we'll come back and wrap up the show. All right, so this is the last call for anybody to enter the prize giveaway. It's for a $5,000 account, courtesy of our sponsors, City Traders Imperium. They have been funding traders since 2018. So one person will receive an account from CTI. They will also receive an account to the macro markets terminal, the terminal itself. And they will also receive a 1-month access to the Investing Galaxy WAP community. All right, let's see how many people we got here. Looks like almost 100 people in the live today. So thank you to everybody who has joined us today. We got about 20 people or so who have entered the prize giveaway. So let's do this. All right. Okay, so let's get ready to do the live draw, and then we'll finish up with our thoughts to prepare you for the weekend. Okay. All right. Okay. Everybody's ready to go. Everybody knows the rules.
My random guess is number 8.
There we go. Okay, I'll go for number 7. Lucky number 7 for me. Looks like the King is in taking the lead. King looks like he's number 10, I believe. Can't see the full email address of number 10, but number 10 is definitely out front. A cigar smoking number 14. Well done. Okay, congratulations. Womb. Actually, James, you're very good at pronouncing people's names.
I don't know about Womb, but maybe Whoam 2020.
Okay, there we go. I'm glad you're here to do that. Well, congratulations. Yeah, WOM 2020, you can see had a clear sort of strong finish into the end. So you will be receiving your $5,000 account, your access to the terminal, and your access to our WAP. So congratulations. And thanks as well to everybody for joining.
And for the winner, if you reach out to Mandela to claim the funded account, either get in touch with Mandela to contact us or give us an email at info@macromarketsgroup.com, and we'll give you access to the terminal. But congratulations on winning, and we want to see the results on the 5K account. We want to see how you get on.
Yes, I would love to kind of get an update from anyone who has created the account, who's passed the account, and who has received the payout. We did receive a message yesterday from one person who they won the account on a Friday show, and then they passed the account, and now they're actually a funded trader with City Traders Imperium. So we would like to get more people on the show as well.
My FX note, I think
that was, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that was my FX note, who is, I believe my FX note is in the live chat today as well. Let me see if I can find it. My FX note is usually here. Yep, my FX note is with us today waving. So let us know how your account is going, and once you receive a payout, we'd be happy to bring you on to the show and just give our viewers a little bit of an interview and how your journey is going. I think that would be good. All right, James, any parting words on this Friday?
Parting words from me, I guess, would just be the risk sentiment has kind of slightly changed in the last half hour or so since CPI data. We're seeing a bit of a weak risk on market sentiment. Obviously, that's mainly driven by the optimism around the US-Iran peace talks. It's obviously moving towards de-escalation, but we did have the US CPI data that obviously was lower than what was expected and kind of helps that theme as well. So yeah, obviously the markets, the futures are up slightly pre-market. The dollar's down slightly as well. Gold and silver up a little bit, oil down a little bit, but really subdued moves. We're not talking a lot of movement at all. And it kind of sounds maybe like the boring answer, but I'd just be careful in the upcoming trading session. There's a saying that I heard every Friday for the last 5 or 6 years from someone that I've known that's traded for about 40 years. And it was don't do your ass on a Friday or it will ruin the weekend. And what he means by that is basically don't kind of go mad like trading on a Friday and potentially end up losing loads of money, because you're going to be thinking about it until the markets open again on Sunday night. And I think that will be ever so true in this case this afternoon. So although there is a weak kind of risk on sentiment and markets are reacting a little bit better today, maybe you get a kind of play at the open, join Mandela on his live stream if you can, for his live trading, and maybe you nick a little bit of money at the open, but I definitely wouldn't be looking to hold positions over the weekend in hope of certain news. We don't want to be kind of trading off of hope, you know, and we don't know what the news this weekend will bring. But as always, we'll update Sunday and give a full rundown of all the weekend news to prepare for the week ahead next week.
Yes. Unless you are a 5-star general or you are in the Trump administration's top 10 contact list, I think it's better to be preserving capital. And that's what I call it. Every Friday, I call it capital preservation. My job is to protect my capital, number one. And then, like you said, James, if there's an opportunity, you know, you can try and give it a go, try and grow a little something here or there. But you don't need to give away the profits that you've made since April 1st or since Monday. There's no need to just give them away on a whim this weekend, hoping that you're gonna hit it big and win the lottery. So I do think it's interesting that we got the lower CPI, and there's a very sort of delayed reaction. Maybe it's going to happen a little bit later on today after the open or into the close. But I would be interested to see how people are going to position into the weekend before these peace talks kick off, whether people want to take a little bit more risk or maybe go into a little bit more cash. So I'll be watching, and feel free, like James said, please feel free to join us for the live trading. We'll be doing live trading. We got to jump off in a second, but we'll be doing some live trading in about 25 minutes. So feel free to come over and kick it with us over there. But James, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Can we talk a little bit about the event? Just very briefly about the trading event. I'm going to put a ticker down the bottom.
Very quickly, 3 weeks tomorrow, Saturday the 2nd of May. I've got a big event in London. Mandela will be the main person presenting on the day. The morning session will be focused all about trading psychology, consistency, and tips that you can take home with you to become a better trader. And I think probably 90% of the traders that I speak to, when you'd ask them what's their biggest struggle within trading, it would be something that falls within psychology, consistency, over risking, not sticking to the plan. So you're going to learn a lot in that morning session, a few lessons that should hit home and you should be able to kind of take away with you to improve that side of your trading. And Mandela's also going to be interviewing some of the traders that he's worked with and mentored. There's all food and drink provided throughout the day. There's a few different kind of tea breaks and coffee breaks. There's a 3-course lunch for everybody as well. In the afternoon, we have Mandela to continue presenting about his best day trading strategies. Some of what you'll see if you join him on the live trading session this afternoon on his strategy at the market open on the range breakout. But he's going to be presenting all of his best day trading strategies, and he'll be followed up by the founder of City Traders Imperium, Daniel, giving a speech to the audience about loads of different things. You know, Daniel's journey from being in the markets to being the founder of a prop firm. He's going to be speaking about some of the statistics behind successful prop firm traders. You know, is it better to trade multiple assets or one, swing trade or a scalper, evaluations or instant funded accounts? He's going to be revealing some of the kind of secrets to being successful with prop firms, and he's going to be interviewing some of the paid out successful City Traders Imperium traders from the audience. So it's going to be a great day. It's 3 weeks, obviously, tomorrow. There is only 50 tickets available, and out of that, about 40 of them have sold now. So I believe there's less than 10 tickets available. So make sure you reach out to Mandela. I think in the comment section below this, in the caption of the video, there might be a link to buy a ticket. But it's an opportunity for you to meet 50 other traders that are like-minded. They're on the same path as you. It's an opportunity to learn from Mandela, who's obviously got, over 15 years experience in the markets. It's an opportunity to meet Daniel, the founder of City Traders Imperium, to do a Q&A with him, pick his brain. You're going to receive a free 5K funded account from CTI as well. Everyone attending will receive a free 1 month access to the terminal. So it's going to be a great day. It's a chance to connect with loads of traders, learn a lot about the markets, and I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody there. But as I said, there's 3 weeks to go and there's not many tickets left. So if you are interested, reach out to Mandela or reach out to me and reserve your ticket, or you're going to miss out.
Yeah, you're going to want to be there. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody face to face. I'm very excited. I've got my my speech ready, and I've put the QR code that's above James's head. So that QR code above James's head will take you directly to the link for you to get some more information and book your tickets, because like James said, space is limited and you want to make sure that you secure your ticket quickly. Thank you, James. Thank you very much. I just want to say another thank you to everybody in the live chat. Looks like most people are going to be bullish today. Yeah, majority of people look like they're bullish. 50% bullish, 12% bearish, 38% neutral today. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. And James, anytime you'd like to come on the show, it's always a pleasure to have you on, James.
Anytime. Thank you for having me. Good luck to everyone this Friday afternoon. As I said, don't do your ass on a Friday or it will ruin the weekend. And yeah, thanks for having me on. I will hopefully see you all soon.
Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.